Your mum's a hero. That's what the teachers say, to try to explain why for him it's this way.
Her name is Emily, and she's 17. And there is no difference. Her name is Emily, and she's 17. And there is no difference between green. She can be mean, stylish, and a productivity machine, but this pandemic is nothing like she has ever seen. Gym sessions, prom, and afternoons at the park didn't matter anymore. Friday nights at the cinema, lunch dates at Nando's were all she cared about before. Now she's alone, at home, confined to four walls. She now misses French lessons, morning assemblies, and exam halls.
Both parents, key workers serving the country, spent the previous few weeks coming home hungry. The long shifts are unceasing, with daily cases increasing. Her mom's a nurse at a care home. Her dad works in a solvent factory. They both say the government's efforts are unsatisfactory.
Spending her days wondering why Mum and Dad don't. Not until they cleanse themselves and disinfect the bathroom. Until this is done, they can't enter the living room. Her dad's voice silenced by the atrocities he's heard. She remembers evenings he spent playing the ukulele before this occurred. Now he doesn't do that anymore. Long shifts cause him to snore. In his dreams, he fantasizes of being Thor, hammer-wielding god of thunder, lightning, and storms. In his dreams, he's invincible, incredible, lovable. But now goes off to work routinely according to timetable.
Emily looks at the walls, asking when this will end, spent hours and hours listening to The Weeknd. She remembers of Friday nights doing her French work, sitting at the kitchen table. As a child, her dad playing the ukulele and telling her fables. The dust had settled on the body of the ukulele of the past mum. She loved listening to the strings being plucked. She tried to play it once. G, D6, C, and A minor. She knew the basic chords to father and son. She knew this was her father's favourite song.
But her neighbour next door, Mr. Wong, knew she was playing the song Ron all along. Warner had been to a Cat Stevens concert in 1970 when the song was released. He sang the song to his wife, now deceased. These are hard times for all, the young and elderly. This person is of the latter aging, fearful and lonely. He speaks to his loved ones sometimes, never in person, always online. Waking up at night worrying, knowing the official end is blurry. About his family, about himself, about the whole country's health, while he sits in his wheelchair waiting for the cure to be there.
Waiting. Wong knew he couldn't be kept quiet. He had to let Emily know her strumming was wrong. The song didn't flow or glow. Even if it's the last thing he'd do, he would teach Emily the ukulele.
Her wrong strumming felt like torture every day, daily. He took his black IKEA stool and sat outside his door. He shouted, "Come here!" After many days in quiet, his voice sounded like a roar. Even if 2 feet apart, the distance seemed too close. Emily didn't expect Mr. Wong. And she froze. "Mr. Wong never speaks to me, never to a soul or anyone." He explained, "Girl, this isn't how you play father and son." So they sat down, two neighbours as strangers. Their friendship was set to start, bonded over 2 weeks on a daily basis, sitting 2 feet apart. She learned the chords, the riff, and the strumming pattern. She felt proud. Myriad of people watching from their doorsteps, such a warm crowd. They cheered for Emily. In her neighbours, she found a new family. She sang, "It's not time to make a change, just relax, take it easy." She figured Mr. Wong wasn't strange. He smiled, "See? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy."
And as she was finding a new family in Mr. Wong and others, she realised she'd been neglecting her father and mother. They both working hard on either's space, neither encroaching. So Emily, knowing their 10-year anniversary was approaching, had an idea that might bring them together, to bind them in song, to strengthen, to tether.
So, on their anniversary night, she got her parents out of isolation and brought them to the front room to join in celebration. All sat. Emily played how she'd been taught by her neighbor, who listened through the wall at the successful lessons he gave her. A warm smile was beaming across his face, like the one of her parents that she could also trace.
They all smiled, forgot about the outside, and remembered instead the past moments kept inside. The instrument in her hand embracing her parents, the times they had. The marriage that had lasted so long during this crisis, which they knew would soon be gone.
Both of them are playing a part, really trying, working hard. So many long years, happy together.
This virus will not live long. But love?
Love lives forever.
Golden blonde ringlets and height of 3'5", fathoms little of his mum's struggle and strife, dropped off at his school, action figure in hand. His friend's not there, he doesn't quite understand. Your mum's a hero, that's what the teachers say, to try to explain why for him it's this way.
Hard to grasp when his mum doesn't shoot webs out her fingers, nor on clocks or costumes like those of hero figures, earns for the old weekends and his mum's DP soldiers, and feels an unknown burden waiting on his small shoulders. The news is so loud, ringing shrills of fear, puzzled by turmoil, dazed, nothing is clear.
He retreats with his Hulk toy to the classroom corner, and teacher brings blanket, becomes armour, is warmer. But he misses warm sunbeams and frisbee throwing in the park, and patting dogs in the high street, cause now the streets are so stark. Nursery rhymes of all king's horses and all king's men, but it's mum who's helping put Humpty together again.
Dazed at Peter Pan, it takes faith and trust, he said. Though no more TV nights, nor reading Porter in bed, Mrs. V says, well done for being so brave, and these confusing times will soon be less grey. The days will be brighter. His mama will again be there to play. She's a hero, still working at the hospital subway.
Arduous long hours with barely any rest. Huge responsibility, she's tired and stressed. She aches for her baby, he must feel so alone, cause she's there in the hospital but yearning to be home.
Immense amount of pressure in risky conditions. Work is a hardship, a strain, a mission. It's a precarious time, detrimental for her kid. She's torn in her heart. Does she go on? Does she quit? A mum with a 5-year-old who ain't understanding, all while the community outside is crash landing.
Her child at school painting sunrises, whilst the world she now lives in she despises. It's the world that he doesn't understand, where all he needs is a helping hand. Sirens, sirens, alarm, no silence. Eyes open. Another morning, time for coffee. She is walking. Station, platform, the noise approaching. Empty seats are almost watching. Doors, codes, clutching voice. Being too close, it's not a good choice. Mrs. V, can I play with you here? No contact, big concept, small talk, 2 meters near. She is walking, no one coughing. Sirens, sirens, a walk, knock, doorknob, soap, more soap, 20 seconds. Her eyes in the mirror, look soaked.
Home finally, Mum. Dinner's almost burnt. Son, it's just a very well done roast. Is this now how it has to be? Struggling, helping, trying together, hopeful. This can't last forever.
Separated by years, one an adult, the other a kid. They're closer now and joined amid this new world where family is split, and we all have felt that terrible hit. When can they both hold their loves again? What else can they do to relieve their shed pain? Then on her journey home to ease her son's aches, a warm, joyous treat with her son, baking cake, and what was before an empty kitchen of isolation, once more a place for a culinary creation.
Both laughing endlessly and filled with glee. For the first time in ages, both feel normal and free.
Crazy decorations and toppings galore. In the oven it goes, so a tasty treat is in store. One kneaded cake and the family's back together. All baked with such love, life finally feels better. Out it comes, Toppy's all messed up and crazy. Mum's quite shocked, but can't deny it's quite tasty.
She takes a step back and feels immense joy to be here with her son, her baby, her boy. These times, they are hard and extremely painful, but to be with her boy, she is so immensely grateful. Amidst these hard times, it means so much to have love. The days soon will be brighter and the times less tough.
Tomorrow will bring a time for celebration and a big party for that special occasion. No more home alone, no more isolation.
Where all key workers will get their admiration
And relief mixed happiness
will be our lasting sensation.
Monday. She's stuck at home again today. She can't go outside with her friends to play. She can't say hello to them on Skype. There isn't a laptop or tablet in sight. She sits on the sofa watching TV. The newsreader's painting a picture. It's bleak. He's talking of sickness, death, fear and grief. Still so little sign of relief.
We were doing Pandora's box at school. Did they mention COVID-19? She doesn't recall. Yes, that must be it. The gods are running riot. And now our daily hustle and bustle has fallen quiet. But she must be sure to tell Mum. What they're left with is hope. She's out working for the NHS, making sure it can cope.
Wednesday. One like no other. Yesterday's rainbow drawing brought no colour. She's now impatiently waiting at 2 meters as the signs are stating.
A figure stood stirring, staring behind her, her ethnicity quiet, and she watches the ground to keep it quieter, because now it seems the loudest in the newspapers. She knows what you think and you say when you angle your shopping further away from her and the things she's about to buy as quickly as she can to avoid their darting eyes.
Because she notices their fear and shame as much as she notices the glaring, the calculating, the likelihood that the disease appeared in her blood rather than travelled overseas into her, and now in the same aisle as you. She supposes she should thank that you're careful with her, as she would be careful with you.
Motivation is thin and her energy is thinner. Her strength to stand up to their intolerance is thinnest because we're all scared and we're all wary of who we can trust, but it's what travels in the particles between us.
Friday. No difference from yesterday. She waits with her hands clutching Mum's again, in a queue she's seen so many of before, all stand 2 shopping trolley lengths, guards at the door, though she stays quiet and complains no more.
There's a new rule now, Mum says. I'm going to do some shopping, but I won't be far away. Hold the trolley handle and don't let go, and stay wherever I leave you so I'll know. She watches Mum as she shuffles and weaves in and out of the people around. Mum tries hard to be quiet and invisible, shuffles around to find what needs to be found. She comes back with a big bag of brown rice, triumphantly adds it to the crate.
An unsmiling stranger looms over her space. Masks are not enough to hide their scowling face. They shield her from the spit as they begin to howl, but before anything her mum stands between and takes the full blow of the row. She doesn't say anything vile, she just turns and pushes away from the stage. So why is Mum getting blamed all the while? Was it their fault? Even as they leave the aisle, the harsh shouting doesn't come to a halt. She remembers now before this lockdown they were in, when she would be at school instead of the shops. Her cheeks were rounded to compare, but yellow skin. The other kids would mock.
Saturday. 2 meters by 2 meters, again line by line they stand, irritable and fidgety. She's dangling off her mother's hand. Only difference now from the other day's scene is that Mum now waits in her uniform of green. Her daughter twisting in her grip this way and that, turning somersaults in her mind. Don't do that.
They crawl at a snail's pace, staying alert. She bet Glacier's moved faster. Why does her mum still have to go to work? Dad's cooking is a disaster.
And yesterday's attack still fresh, still feeling like a battered victim just because of the colour of her skin.
But something new is going on. Excited anticipation. A ripple is spreading across the car park below a banner which reads, "Feeding the Nation."
People nudging each other, talking behind their hands. A man moves Mum and her to the front, and people are nodding as though they understand.
A cheer breaks out. A couple shouts, "Let's give her a round of applause." My mum turns and grins, apparently aware of why all these people seem to so greatly care.
We move ahead to the front of the queue. People are cheering them. All, not just a few.
Why is everyone clapping? She can hardly guess, but then Mum pushes away a tear and explains.
Because I'm a paramedic for the NHS.
who's my friend who lives around here, luckily, and is storing some of our stuff even more, luckily. We went to explore that clump of trees, which is beautiful, and it's a circle. But then we went to the one on the side, and we thought, actually, this is that little bit more beautiful, and that was a bit more hidden away. So I was teaching a student during lockdown, and we did socially distanced walks on the flats, and I discovered this. Let your imaginations run as well, because you can see the tree over there behind Alyssa's dad. You see there's like little natural formations. These could become part of installations as well. When there was a possibility to participate in the Newham Unlocked Festival and we had to think of a venue, it appeared obvious that a place so beautiful as this, where we could socially distance, was the obvious place. And we're already gathering around Black Lives Matter. There was already a community there to communicate with and that shared the same values, and it became part of a network.
Taking this amount of time really makes me stop and pause and think, what do I want my world to be like? My own experiences of being around racism. I'm an NHS worker and I've worked with far too many wonderful black men called Fred. You know, and that's because they just felt that they've needed to deny their heritage. We're going to take 8 minutes and 46 seconds silence in memory of George Floyd. I think we're very close to 6 o'clock. There's so many of you tonight, so thank you so much. And when I kneel, that will be the start of our silence.
Well, I go here regularly every Wednesday. I think it's really important that we're standing up for them. I really like the people speaking at the end. I think their speeches are very powerful and they're delivering really important.
Thursday, in that big group of trees, we'll be there for the whole day making things. And the spirit of the Breakout Festival is, I'm told, dance like nobody is looking. Let's get the festival out there. So please do come with your ideas, your costumes, and let's make it a lovely day as part of our community. So that's my bit, guys.
Yeah, so all day next Thursday you can go and take part. And what Annie was for was for people to bring photos of people that you're proud of in your families, and they'll be part of a piece of artwork that'll be like a collage, I'm imagining. I'm seeing a collage. And also they'll use sort of recycled materials to embellish them. Okay, so fantastic things for kids to do, to get together, and another safe space for all of us to get together and think about our differences, think about what pulls us together.
It was nice to see like loads of people here, and it's nice to see that they were all standing for the same cause. It represents that Newham is quite a diverse borough, and it's nice, like, because other boroughs they're not as diverse as here. I think it's quite important because that's why we are like doing it, to like attract people, to make them more aware and learn about what we're putting up through art. So I feel like it's more interesting because people don't really like nowadays they don't like reading that much, so maybe like they can see the message through art and it's more easier for them.
These politics is running like a matrix, name this. They shoot and they kill it. War zone in the deadly zone. Duplicate, manifest is the new world trade. We're the bait. They never hold us down, they pull the wool. We see the wool with your hate. My crown, my brown, my melanin. These tests run, protection, marching on black lives.
Nervous, but excited. It's quite hard to believe that it's happened so quickly. Yeah, I'm just excited that it's happening today. I think with the whole Black Lives Matter thing, I haven't paid that much attention, but like through art, it's brought my attention like more to it. I also have a different perspective on different types of art. Whenever I go to like art museums or something, I will make sure to look at the details and see what could really be the meaning behind the art. Like maybe participate more in the Black Lives Matter movement and maybe use more art to show how I feel about it. Through art, or like maybe through these types of like events, where people can come and it's all friendly.
So we're here today as part of a project called I Design My Future, and that project is supported by the Mayor of London's Young Londoners Fund. So I Design My Future is all about getting young people in Newham, from Newham, to have kind of positive experiences really around the arts. So there's been a whole bunch of things they've been doing. They've been doing some creative mentoring. They have been giving us their ideas about what they want to see going on in the borough through a youth board. They've been doing arts workshops. And now they're doing their collaborative summer project. So we're all getting ready, and I'm pretty excited to see what's going to happen today and what their final artwork is going to look like.
I use art to express how I feel. It's about Black Lives Matter because there's lots of killings every single day and every single year with police officers and black minority people. As a young black mixed race child, it makes me feel angry and annoyed that racist people are going around killing people. I think it can help by educating youngers as well. Spread awareness by using online and doing more about it than just like those officers for a couple of days. I would want to do like art on the side, but I would want to be a police officer because I'm doing police cadets. I don't plan my artwork, I just do it in the moment. Because today I'm going to use like neon colours. I'm feeling a little bit bright today.
It was a very quick turnaround, but because the people in this community, I'd already worked with 8 families to do with the Newham Heritage Month, which is about histories, and we did a lot of work on family trees and using models of artists. It flowed quite naturally into that, but was adapted at this stage for significantly older children. But a lot of the materials were already in our minds because they were a continuity from the last lot of work.
That's our family tree, and then we drew objects on the hearts to symbolise things that they were really interested in. So yeah.
And they're all hearts there, so it's amazing with the symbolism of trees, how the branches, how the trunk, how the roots get decorated individually, and like the trees that are around us, every family is different. And yes, Black Lives Matter very much, but culture is very complex. Culture is far more complex than just black and white. We've got so many different, we've got French, Algerian, British, Spanish, American, English, Jewish, Lebanese, everything. So Jojo, explain yours please.
This is my painting, and I dressed up as him, and he's my role model because he didn't fight for power, he fought for freedom and human rights.
Beautifully expressed. 3 very good reasons. A man who didn't fight for power, he fought for human rights and freedom. Which parts of you are in there?
Well, I'm holding up a rock because I really like rocks, and
what have you got in your hand?
It's for and I put the goal and a football going into the goal.
Okay, football.
The score, fourth score, is the beginning of the Gettysburg Address, Abraham Lincoln's speech.
Okay, so it's linked to Abraham Lincoln's speech. Very clever. So the more you talk to the artists, the more you find out, because if it's a good piece of art, every detail will be important. Is that your art? Can you show us? Can you show us your picture? Come on.
This is Sadie. I like dressing up.
Tell Zoe over there. You like dressing up? No, stand here and shout to Zoe. What do you like about this picture?
I like dressing up, and this is nothing, and this is on TV, and we work all about our family, so it's an artist, and I like it because of knowing about it.
So she's learning about it. It's all about art and artists and her family, and she's learning about it, and she likes it.
I'm expecting to see a lot of people to come and see our artwork and what we've done, and maybe open people's minds about maybe things they didn't know, because I have explored topics that aren't usually explored in this country. For example, I made paintings about heroes that fought France in the 1800s in Algeria, and not many people in this country know a lot about Algeria because it's not really talked about in the media and usually in public. It's not really talked about. I think because maybe during the 90s there was a black decade, there was a civil war that broke out between an Islamic party that won the elections in Algeria, but then after that they made a coup. But then after that, that caused a civil war, and so many different factions started fighting for the control of over Algeria. And then after that, in 2002, I think they made it harder to get inside of Algeria, especially to get a visa. It's really hard. So here we've got pictures and paintings of role models. Some of them are war heroes. So for example, this one is Fatima Soumar. She was an Algerian warrior who fought the French during the 1800s, I think. Yeah. This was also a painting of Muhammad al-Maqarani. He was another leader. He was a leader of a group that fought the French in the mountainous areas. And this one is special to me because my great-great-grandfather fought alongside him during the struggle in the 1830s. This one is Omar al-Mukhtar. He fought the Italians during the early 1900s in Libya when they came to colonize. There's this one. She was a slave from Guadeloupe. She was born into slavery, so her parents were captured slaves. And then she was freed, but then after that, when the French wanted to legalize slavery, she did not want to be a slave, so she fought them while she was pregnant. Therefore, there is a statue of her with a bigger belly to show that she was pregnant.
At first, actually, I was a little unsure whether to take it, but I decided to do it. I decided it would be fun. I really enjoyed it, and being around other people and sort of making art in lockdown, it's something really fun to do, especially during the pandemic. I have lots of different role models, but the one I'm using for this project is a woman called Nellie Bly. She was a reporter. She feigned a mental health illness to go into an asylum to expose how the people were being treated there, and then she wrote a book about it, and the asylum changed its ways. A piece of artwork for the I Design My Own Future project will be a large-scale postage stamp of one of my role models, who is called Nellie Bly. I have an A3 piece of paper, some stamps to inspire me, a picture of Nellie Bly and a picture of her monkey, some paintbrushes, acrylic paints, glue sticks, scissors, and some things I cut out which represent some of the things that she's done. This is the inside of the stamp. I'm going to add a border. So I've over there I've done her and her monkey, a quote, in the corners some things she's done, and then I put Nellie McGinty. That is my finished product. I made a border around it out of wallpaper to emphasize the fact that it was a stamp and show that. And I added 50 cents on either side of the stamp to show how much it cost. So I've learned a lot about videography, and I've quite enjoyed that. I've learned about different role models. I've learned a poem which I think I've really enjoyed learning, and it's really really moving, and I think I'll carry that message. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes? Shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. I'm a black ocean leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wonderfully clear, bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
We can see it already. We can see that they're performing in public. I don't think any of them have performed in public before. We can see somebody memorise by heart a poem. I think they will probably look at art in a different way, and that's what they've said. I think they're looking at it from the point of view of making a meaning rather than being worried about making a beautiful picture. And I think the fact that they've been on film, although they're uncomfortable with it, it's practice, and I think they're getting used to it. And they're starting to understand the process, as are we all, how to create a festival in lockdown through the experience of doing it together.
Have you learned any new skills from this project?
The skills I've learned is probably event making. Never done anything like this before. To be honest, it's actually better than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think it was going to be this cool, but you know, the bunting, it just looks more nice, like it's in like a family, like it's kind of like family friendly, you know. It's going to bring in a lot of people, because people from different races, countries, they can all get together and, you know, have some common ground, you know, have some similarities and maybe become friends.
We are all coming together and making something. We could come up with loads of different ideas that could help. So we all get a perspective on what other people think about and do. I've made a presentation about architecture and design. The lighting and the design and where it's being built is very, very important.
I learned that there's like different ways to express like a meaning of something. You can do it like in a painting, words, a poem. And I knew it, but this shows like more examples, and like you can literally see it, and it's really meaningful through art. We're doing the tree tours. We have like different like areas of art, and like you can learn about different cultures and heritage. You should always try to remember like people's cultures and like history, and like express it and make sure it, like we still like know how like they were before and how like beautiful their cultures are, and it's really nice to like explore that idea.
One nation, oh, united, oh, stand up, we can never, oh, you should never take my life. One nation, oh, united, oh, stand up, we can never, oh, you should never take my life.
We live in diversity and we thrive in it. And I think people can learn from the young people, and I hope they will be leading in the future, and I hope it's a model for ways to talk across boundaries, to talk across differences and find out what we have in common and support each other in celebrating our common humanity.